And so you can have multiple businesses, but try to keep your customers somewhere in the same path. If you're dealing with the same customers, right, over and over again, you just give them multiple opportunities to buy from you over and over again.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So when do you realize or what do you take action, right? And why you decide that you want to become a serial entrepreneur rather than owning one business, and why?
So when I did it, like, my first business was in the financial planning and investment world. But there's a lot of like subsets of that, right? So coaching, media, podcast, writing books, right? Being on TV, appearance fees, speaking fees. It's another business. Then it was, so then the coaching, not coaching clients, now coaching other advisors when you become very, very big. Then it was the real estate, owning the building that our company was housed in. That's another business. And then when you branch off from there, when you go from the planning investments, when you go to the insurance arm of it, that includes health insurance, life insurance, annuity business. Then when you go to the coaching side, the coaching of clients, coaching of advisors, the real estate side, and then the speaking and media, they all work toward one brand. But the key is you don't want to have them all in one company, right? So we, of our 7 companies, right, 4 of them make over $1 million a year. 4 of them. The real estate does it because, we have a great building, but we pay ourselves rent. I'm not going to pay myself $1 million rent on my own building. And then one of our others does not, or 2 of our others does not yet, but they will. We've been recognized as an Inc. 5000 company, right, in one of our businesses. And I think within 2 years, 3 of our 7 businesses will be Inc. 5000. But the key to it, though, is when you're a serial entrepreneur, often people get away from the main moneymaker. Like they'll own a dry cleaning business and then go out and own a service-based entity that has nothing to do with machines. It's kind of stay in the same industry, right? So if you're a roofer, you own a great roofing company, maybe you get an air conditioning company, right? Because people who have roofing issues have air conditioning problems. Maybe you bring a plumbing company into it. Right. And so you can have multiple businesses, but try to keep your customers somewhere in the same path. If you're dealing with the same customers, right, over and over again, you just give them multiple opportunities to buy from you over and over again.
Yeah, otherwise you dilute your brand. And the other day I was interviewing one podcast guest, right? And it was interesting because she was a dentist and a dancer, and she has like a dance school and a dentist. And I'm like, wow, this is, and she said, well, both businesses are doing well, but I was thinking exactly your point, like, wow, it's gonna be very difficult to consolidate these 2 things. Because otherwise doing 2 different, totally different, so 2 brands, 2 so it sounds to me like it's more diluted or more different to consolidate that brand than what you're talking about. I remember my first business was in property, right? I was living in London. We rent the house and we rent it room by room, right? To the people that comes to London. And then we have an English school. Why? Because they needed English lessons and they were leaving the property because the English school they were going, it was expensive and it was far and expensive. So I said, okay, we open an English school for you. And then the same customer was saying, well, we struggling finding jobs, so we open a career advice services for them. And even I opened even a restaurant, which it was a big disaster, by the way. I lost £200,000 in that one. But it was in the same thing. They were saying, well, we'd be nice. Most of them, 50% were Spanish. They said, well, would be nice if you open a restaurant. I say, okay, I'm going to open the restaurant. It was a miscalculation that I opened a huge restaurant without having any clue about restaurants. And I took a hit on this, but you just share with us. See, is all are not gonna be successes. You're gonna have some
failures.
things
You are.
that some miscalculation, right? Lack of experience, maybe. You would call it. Go ahead.
One of my businesses that I tried to start was called Championship College Planning. I was literally going to help families create a path forward for their kids to go from high school to the graduation stage and pay less along the way. And it was a great concept. And I could, from a front of a room, right, I could tell everybody, and they'd be like, yes, yes, yes. But the entry fee as a client to Championship College Planning was $10,000. You come in, I would design your plan for you. And the problem with that whole idea is they were struggling to pay the tuition bill. How are they going to pay $10,000? So a concept in your mind, I could solve a lot of problems, right? But if you don't have the right target audience you're selling to, it's the wrong product, right?
Things, Mike. Yeah. Two things. You have to solve a problem, but people have to be willing to pay for same thing we have with the career advice.
Right.
So when we started, like, okay, we're gonna charge for the service, and then we were giving the service, they were finding the job, and I'm checking the balance and why we didn't get paid for the service. And well, Harry, you have to wait because first they don't have a job. Now they find the job. You need to wait 1 month or 2 until they pay this for this.
Yeah, it was a hard lesson for me to learn, but what I learned
for me also.
What I learned is you can't sell bathing suits in Alaska. Right? That's what I equate it to now. So like when I start a business,
some things, Mike, sounds good in paper, sounds good to you. You even think, okay, I'm helping my customers to give it. It was a different thing, the English school to the career advice. I'll tell you why. Because the English thing, parents were paying for them.
Right.
So they do have the budget because they come to London, like in Europe, right? There is like when you finish university, you go to London, you learn English, and this is good for you to find job in Spain, Greece, Italy, whatever. So everybody goes to London to learn English, and the parents say, okay, you know why? I'm gonna pay for 6 months, but I'll sending you, and I will get the accommodation and the school. So I knew, right, that even if they arrive to in the country, they don't have any job, they don't have any credit check, they don't have anything. I know that they can pay, and there is no problem to pay because I know that the parents from Europe allocate this budget for this. Now, for the career advice, it's a different ballgame because what it means is after 6 months, they decide to stay without the parents' help. So now they need to find their own job to pay me the rent, to pay the school. And then in that bracket is what we have the, it was not as successful like the other ones because we have time to collect because of this, because the dynamic changed. And I thought that was the same thing. I thought, okay, you know what? English is good. Okay, the next thing is a career advice. The next thing is a restaurant. Well, it seems good in paper, but actually the dynamic changed because the affordability changed because now, obviously, that's the other thing. They find the first job, but the first job is like a waiter, things like this. Of course, they cannot go every day to the restaurant. They cannot go every week to a restaurant to spend. But then my consolidating the brand, creating something. I have a friend always that said, Harry, don't open a company, open a corporation, right? Meaning have a corporation where you have all those businesses. It's kind of the same structure, Mike, that you have. You maybe don't have it on the one corporation, but at the end of the day, all these 7 businesses are like a corporation. They are all consolidating that brand. So when, which is also very good, I was listening yesterday to a tech talk that talking about the lifespans of the company. Okay, they say, well, human will live 80 years, 90 years, 100 years. How come companies, they live so little, right? And they were doing an analogy with biology and companies, which was quite interesting. So to keep the company to live longer, Mike, what is your take on this? What do you think that will, not only one company, but at least a group of companies, make them live longer, which is something sometimes challenging because we had COVID, we had this, we have market change, we have tech, right? Everything can come as a surprise really fast. And like you said, 2-3 months, maybe a year, you could be, one of the business can be totally wiped out.
I mean, you got to think about it. Like if you go back in history, right? I mean, the UK has a long history, like a really long history, and a long history of pro-business, by the way, right? And so in London, there's a lot of people who, like the oldest businesses in London are maybe 200-300 years old, maybe. Right?
Oh yeah. We have delivery companies there that they have been in the city of London that they have been there from forever.
Right.
They call it delivery companies, something like this.
Yeah, but those companies, right, in comparison to the history of the world, they're babies, right? If you think about how long the history of the world's been. Now think about like the Liberty companies, right, in the UK, how long they've been around. Now think about how many businesses have failed since they started. See, a business, just like an individual, has a lifespan. It has a beginning date and it has an ending date. And it also has many transformation dates if it goes more than 20 years or so. New leaders, new energy, new purpose. Companies that don't shift with what's going on. So right now, AI is dominating the news everywhere. And if you don't embrace AI, you're going to become a company like Blueberry or BlackBerry. Do you remember BlackBerry, the phone? BlackBerry, the
Absolutely.
phone. Right. They were like, hey, you need to get a touch screen. And they're like, no, we're good. Our screen's perfect. Well, there's this new thing, iPhone, coming out. You should really change your model. And they're like, no, that thing's a novelty. Remember Google, when like iPhone 3 came out, they put something out that said the iPhone, they put a commercial out, Google did, that said the iPhone is dead, right? They like,
wow.
Rest in peace the iPhone. Do we really think the Google phone is a viable bit? Now, Google's a different business, right? But a product line failed, a business in a business. BlackBerry failed. Nokia, not a market player. See, if you don't adapt and change as you move through a business cycle, like right now it's AI. If you're not adapting AI in your business, if you're not using it to try to create streams and in embracing it with your clients, by the way, like we embrace AI with our clients, not as an adversary of our business. We embrace it. And if you don't do that, then you've created a business that is getting closer to death than growing toward more life.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.